Hello, Malcolm here, and welcome to Joy in the Morning, episode 19, my unedited and raw audio diary of my processing of my feelings and my thoughts about the death of my mother 2 years ago, and this episode prompted by the recent death of my father-in-law, John Bartley. I'm recording this on Friday in a park in Newark as I'm walking around having a time of prayer and reflection, and we're here this Friday because 1 o'clock on Wednesday morning John passed away, and we're gathered together with family from a number of different places to mourn together, to support one another, to comfort one another, to begin to make some plans for the funeral, and to reflect, to, I suppose, rejoice, if that's the right word, to rejoice over his life and to be here for each other. It's been an extraordinary time and a rich time, a time of memories. Walking around Newark this morning and a little yesterday, remembering places we went with John and Pat, especially with the children when they were young, coming out to visit, going out to museums and castles and various other activities, and eating together, and conversations, and so many memories we all have. And sharing them together the last couple of days has been wonderful because we all have some different memories and different angles on events that happened, and it's been well, I don't know what the right word is exactly, but it's been a very special time I'll cherish, though brought together by sadness. But it's wonderful for us to be able to be together right now. And I've had two thoughts I thought I'd just note down, really. And one of them is an overarching, abiding, very palpably strong sense of gratitude. I've been thinking about John a lot the last few days, and because he's been ill for a little while, and gratitude is the thing that comes to my mind. I'm so grateful for John. For the main thing being that he was willing to let me marry his daughter. I remember the day when Penny and I got engaged, and we hadn't actually planned it. It happened, and it so happened that I think the next day John and Pat were visiting Penny. She was still at university, and had planned to have, I think, Sunday lunch. And Penny was going to cook Sunday lunch at the flat where she lived, and we were going to have lunch together with them. They turned up. We started having lunch, and we had agreed that I would tell John that we'd got engaged, and the meal went on and on and on, and Penny kept looking up at me, and at one point I think she kicked me under the table because we'd had a drink, and then we'd had a starter, and then we'd had the main course, and we were on to dessert, and I think Penny was about to start serving coffee, and I still hadn't mentioned it. I was feeling so tense about the whole thing, and again I think maybe she kicked me, and I said, by the way, John and Pat, we've decided to get married, or something like that. I don't remember the exact words I used, but anyway, I said we've got engaged, or we're going to get married. And of course they were a bit surprised. But John just looked at me, stuck out his hand, and said congratulations, and shook my hand really firmly. He had a very strong grip, if you knew John. He gripped my hand hard, shook it warmly, said congratulations, got out of his seat, went to the car, and came back with a bottle of whiskey, which he happened to have in the car, and said, we need to toast this occasion. And so we drank whiskey for a while, and I was struck by his generosity, his warmth, his acceptance of me. Somebody from a very different background, and we didn't have a lot in common, but I loved his daughter and still do, and he loved his daughter, and he was happy for me and Penny to be together, and I'll of course never forget that. And that generosity didn't stop then, of course. He continued to be so generous towards me, Penny, and our children. And that's another wonderful feeling I have about John, is that he was very accepting of our children, Lydia and Fred. He would play with them, he made toys for them, he was very patient with them, and drew them to him in that way. And I am so wonderfully grateful for that. Now I have another thought I've been thinking about this morning, but I think that's probably enough for now. I'll just stop with that because I don't think anything tops gratitude, really. What could be better than to think back on somebody and who's no longer around and to have a feeling of gratitude? And I do, over and over, for so many things. Well, I hope if you've lost somebody recently that you're able to feel something similar, or perhaps you have other thoughts and feelings about them which will help them to be a memory that you'll cherish. And as some other things occur to me, I might record them in the next few days. But again, I want to record also my gratitude to all the rest of the family who've been so supportive and wanted to do what they can to help. Thanks for all your thoughts. And thank you, John. Thank you, John. Thank you, John, so much for your life and the richness of it and your generosity to me and to my children. Never forget that. Never could forget that. Gratitude sticks with you long after many other things have faded. That'll do for today. I do hope that whatever you're going through, even though weeping may remain for a night, joy cometh in the morning. Take care. God bless.